with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown!
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
What's up, everybody, and good Saturday morning to you, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Brett and Scott with you for a couple hours here to get your Saturday morning started here on the weekend before the 4th of July. So, Scott, always a big holiday weekend here in the United States, especially around here at Lake Martin, and looks like we're going to have pretty good weather.
Yeah, pretty hot weather.
Like
but
hot?
Yeah, it's if you like that, you'll be fine.
Pouring rain, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. It gives gives us opportunity to get on the lake, or people get out and do some grilling or yard work, whatever they want to do. But
Hard work.
yeah, not necessarily me. Yeah. Hard work, yard work, same thing.
Yeah.
But no, it should be a good weekend, and it gives a good opportunity to kind of talk about some things leading up to high school football and all the things that happened during the summer.
Yeah, this is when we start kind of going in that direction as far as highlighting, schools and talking about high school football and a lot that goes on in the summer months. There really is not a lot of summer months to it anymore because right when graduation happens, it's kids don't really get much of a break. I was talking yesterday to several people, and I know there's some positives to keep things going, but I mean, it is. They really don't get if you play multiple sports, you don't get much of a break at all. So they move right into football, and I know here in these parts, Benjamin Russell been part of several 7-on-7s and OTAs. We might catch up with Coach Grider a little bit later in the show here in this early hour of the program, and see what his thoughts are. I know he's been extremely proud of their performance this past couple of weeks and what they've been able to do. Played in a very, very good 7-on-7 down in Foley this past week, and ended up being in the championship match against Thompson High School, and it was a pretty close match. So Thompson won it, but I don't think anybody's surprised by that. I think they're one of the top 10 teams in the country nationally, but it kind of shows you where our program is right now too, and kind of the expectations going into this season. Coming off an 8-3 year and returning most all of the key components to the team that got them where they were last year. So excited. Maybe we can get up with him. If not, we're going to talk about it anyway. Talk about some of the other teams around the area. I know Wetumpka won the Elmore County 7-on-7. They started something down there I thought was pretty cool, and all the teams in Elmore County compete for a trophy down there during a exclusive 7-on-7 count. And Wetumpka knocked off Elmore County in that pretty convincingly, and that's Benjamin Russell's first opponent in the season. So those two teams look like they put up a lot of points, and Bear Woods is the coach down there and took over last year, and he's really kind of kept things going for Wetumpka. So that's going to set up to be a really good first game to start the season.
Yeah, I was, originally Sylacauga was on the schedule, and we had to get a new game. And when Wetumpka was placed on the schedule, I felt a little bit better going into it than you normally would with the first game. But now seeing some of the numbers we've seen during the summer and what they have returning back, Coach Grider and the staff really adamant about that being a really good game, tough matchup to start the season. But if you like scoring, I think that'll be a game that you'll enjoy to come watch.
Yeah, the schedule. We've already gone over the schedule a couple of times. We might run back through it, but the schedule sets up to be pretty good all the way around. It's not an easy schedule. I mean, you got a lot of tough opponents on the schedule. For the most part, it's the same as it was last year. But you do have a few new teams that we'll see this year. But I know the end goal for this program is to get back to the playoffs, but possibly win the region first, but get to the playoffs and then make a run. This is a very talented team. It's got a lot of talented seniors on this team that's going to be leading it. We pulled Gabe's numbers the other day, and I'll try to pull that up real quick, Scott. Looking at what he's been able to do over the last couple of years, he's 272 of 476 or 467 for 4,333 yards in the last 2 years. Now, only played in 8 games his sophomore year. Had some injuries, threw for 1,572 yards, but threw for 2,761 yards last year in 11 games. So that's just kind of a snapshot there, what he's been able to do as far as his passing numbers. Now, that doesn't include his rushing, but I think he's got 31 touchdowns to 11 interceptions too in that time frame. So you're returning a guy that's got a lot of experience, and again that goes a long way at every level when you have the most important position on the field in football obviously is a quarterback, and basically you're gonna have a 3-year starter returning, and a veteran and one of the top rated quarterbacks here in the state.
Yeah, and I think that the plethora of options he has on the outside when his skill position players, I think will bode well for his numbers. And you think about the 2,700, and honestly, the way that this team, or last year specifically, so many chunk plays and big plays, really, if there was, extended drives, maybe those numbers are even more, but he's scoring so quickly,
right.
So you don't get as many opportunities. But I think that this team is in for a good season.
And there were several
with
games
him.
he didn't play the whole game because we were up big.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to add that in too.
Yeah.
So numbers can be a little bit deceiving, positive and negative sometimes, depending on how you look at it and what goes into it. But yeah, I think from a wide receiver standpoint, like you said, I don't remember, and I've been doing this a long time, I don't remember a group top to bottom as good as this group. Now, I mean, it's not saying they have the best guy that's ever come through the school out there, but that could be up for debate too. But as a whole, as a wide receiver core, I mean, it's really who do you cover, and who do you decide as a defense that you want to maybe man up on, maybe try to shut down, or maybe double team. Defenses are going to have their hands full, and it looks like from an offensive line standpoint, you're going to be strong up front. You're going to be able to run the football. They proved that against Gardendale in the spring. So that's going to be what causes teams so much problems. Now, on the defensive side, they're going to have to work on some things. I think, obviously, Coach Grider talked about it on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show with me. He said, look, we've got to get a little bit better over there. We got some new pieces to put in, but he likes the talent that he's got over there, and that'll get better as the year goes on. But, man, keeping this team under 40 points is going to be the key for other teams that play Benjamin Russell.
Oh, I agree. I mean, we've had offenses that were very explosive. The Tay Young years, the Casey Cutts years, Clay, with Tyree, but just overall, as you said, I don't know if we've had this assortment. So offensively, I think they're going to do what we expect them to. But defensively, again, if you could keep teams, if we could 24 points, which sounds like a lot, but when you're scoring 35 to 40, that 24 isn't as much. So I think that you'll have a lot of guys contribute. And as you said, once the season progresses, guys that are sophomores or no longer sophomores are playing as juniors, technically. So it should be a fun time. But I think the entire area as a whole has a lot of excitement to.
But that's
to
where
be
we are in
prepared
high
for.
school football, though. Now, Scott, I mean, 24 points is, I mean, that's a good number of points, but it's really not in another way of looking at it, because, I mean, that's 3 scores, that's 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and you look at how offenses are designed now and how the game is played. I mean, most teams are kind of putting if you're decent, you're putting those numbers up. So I'm not saying that's a benchmark for everybody, but and you'll run across some teams that play that old school defense and defense first, and they get you in a grind out type game and they hold you to 13 to 17 points. But for the most part, you've seen the scores over the last 5 years. The average score is somewhere in the 20s for both teams. So a lot of times, and
I just can't fathom saying if we hold somebody that under 30. Like, that sounds crazy to say, but as you're saying, in this
now, if you don't have
environment,
any weapons on offense, that's a big deal. But if you got like you said, an enormous amount of weapons on offense, you're not really – I'm not saying you're not concerned about it. I don't want to diminish that because, you want to go out there and get stops because every time you get stops, you get your offense another possession, which is huge, and that's the way you score points. But, our defense the last couple of years have been very opportunistic as far as being able to create turnovers. So stealing possessions from the other team is also probably as good or better than actually giving up. I mean, you give up a score, but if you can steal something, you almost kind of cancel that score out. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you're able to get some turnovers, which this team's been able to do the last couple of years, and before that, we went on a drought. Not getting turned. I mean, I couldn't remember the last time we intercepted a pass. Seriously. I mean, after the last – it went 3 or 4 years. Randy and I talked about it in the defensive scheme and stuff that we were in. It was like, we weren't putting ourselves in a position to be able to intercept passes. When you're playing a lot of cover zero and a lot of man, you're putting your guys on islands out on the corner. And but now that, we've changed it up and we go multiple on defense, you're giving guys opportunities to make plays, and that's a huge deal. So. Yeah,
especially when you have the guys like we do or starting to produce. So, again, if you're a Wildcat fan, I think that you'll have a lot to be excited about. And I think just regionally, the teams that we cover, I think that there's some transition years in some places, and then there's some teams who are looking to take that next step. So, should be a fun fall.
A lot going on in the world of college football. We'll talk about that, too, when we come back. The NCAA with a memo to all the colleges saying, don't worry about what the state government says. Y'all just go ahead and follow our rules. How's that going to go over? We're going to talk about that and a lot more. I know we're just getting started here, but we'd love to hear from you. If you've got a comment, you can call us 256-234-6221. You can comment away on Sports Blitz Live there on Facebook. That's Sports Blitz, it's Sports with a Z. You can comment there. Send us any questions, anything that you got. We'd love to hear from you here on this Saturday morning. Up against our first break. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Forbes Auto Sales, located on Highway 280 in Kellyton, is all about selection and service. Selection of clean, sharp used cars, trucks, and SUVs selected by Robert Forbes himself. Service. Forbes Auto Sales is all about servicing vehicles on the lot, but also servicing your personal vehicle. Keep this in mind. If you don't see what you're looking for on the lot, just tell old Robert to go shopping for you. That's what he does. Personal service, and that's what it's all about at Forbes Auto Sales in Kellyton.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Sunshine Heating and Air, a big part of our program here. You can see their logo there across the bottom of the screen if you're watching on TV or on Facebook Live. 256-825-4849 to give Kevin Kill and his group a call down there at Sunshine Heating and Air. Buddy, you better hope your air don't go out this week. So, I mean, it is scorching hot out there. So, they stay extremely busy, but if it's time for a new unit, if you need some work done, they're the people to call on. I promise you they'll take care of you out there. We'll try to run down. It's that time of year again, Scott, to look at maybe some current streaks out there in high school, like winning streaks, losing streaks, who's got, most consecutive years with scoring and all the different fun stuff that we go through from time to time and on this program in high school. So looking forward to that. We'll talk about that again. Maybe we'll get Coach Grider to talk about the 7-on-7. But look, let's go back. We'll talk about that a little bit. Matched up against Thompson in the championship, teams like Saraland and other teams down there in Foley. Competing in that 7-on-7, and the thing about 7-on-7 is just basically your skill guys versus your linebackers and DBs over on the defensive side, and really kind of matching up your better athletes there in those positions, and tells a lot about. Now again, it doesn't have a reflection on how you're going to do in the season, but that skeleton type look of your defense and offense kind of gives you a little bit of a snapshot of what maybe your potential might be in those positions.
Oh, absolutely. And for a team that expects to pass the ball or throw it around a lot, I think this is good. Chemistry building. A lot of these guys, they're trying to build that for the season. But fortunately, we've got a guy, as you said, who this is his third year as a starter, really been playing with his senior class and the rest of his teammates for a while now. Emergence of somebody like a Cedarian Morgan gives you that outside threat. Michael Simmons, just whatever you want to do with him there. And then with Chris Foster, a human joystick, Kendrick Bird. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. But again, going back to the 7-on-7s, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but the emergence of how important that's become as a staple of of how you're building your program and your summer OTAs and all of those. So something we didn't necessarily see growing up, but now it's pretty much a guaranteed. If you want to get the exposure and all of that, you need to be involved.
We were talking about the heat factor this time of year, and then going into football season in August, really when fall camp starts, and no two-a-days like they used to. But I think kids are more adaptive to the conditions now than ever because they don't ever get out of it. I'm not saying that back in the day you were at workouts and you had workouts throughout the week, but necessarily you weren't allowed to go up on the there wasn't any practicing going on. Now pretty much all these 7-on-7 OTAs and individual workouts on the field and stuff is just extended practices more than anything. So they're out in the environment. I mean, they're in a helmet. They're not in pads and all, but they're out in the elements really the first second week of June on all the way into football season. So it's really not a shock to the body. Now, everybody's not out there, okay? So, and I know that certain groups are having to do conditioning and all and kind of keep up and not diminishing that, hey, those first few weeks out in the sun are pretty brutal with the pads on. But I think kids are more adaptive to it because they're out there and they don't really get a break.
Yeah, and they're more resilient probably than we give them credit for, and that's not to say that, you know, you don't need the breaks and you got to be cautious and protective of the safety of your kids. But at the same time, as you said, I think it's just transitioning and correlating back to getting ready for the season. So those early games where you have the heat timeouts and all of that, I think kids are getting a little more acclimated, or at least, you know, if you're Danny Horn, you're hoping so, because he's not a big fan of the cramps, and so that was always fun back in the day, those early games. But anyway, I think it's exciting for our guys, because that's not necessarily something we've always been a part of, and so getting the exposure for our players is something that we need.
Yeah, we're going to talk about over the next several weeks, because look, what are you, 7 weeks out now from the start? Yeah. August the 24th will be the first game. That will be in Montgomery. There'll be some other Thursday night games around the state, but we'll be in Montgomery with the AHSAA network. We'll see Thompson and Opelika get things kicked off on Thursday night down there. Of course, we'll be back here on Friday for Benjamin Russell and Wetumpka to start the 2023 season. But we're going to talk about, you know, a Dadeville Tiger team that lost a lot. You know, we're going to talk about Horseshoe Bend trying to build off what they did last year. Central Clay, who will be the second week opponent for Benjamin Russell, and another good year for them last year, getting knocked out by Gulf Shores and a really good running back in Ronnie Royal down there. So we'll discuss them. Reeltown, Tallahassee, Central Coosa, the whole 9 yards around here. We'll try to do a little preview over the next several weeks, and by the time we get through everybody, it'll be time to kick off. So, you know, Opelika moving up to 7A and being in that real tough region, went 5-5 last year and didn't make the playoffs, and had a really good team. I mean, a really, really good team. And it was odd to look down the other day when we were talking about this and go, I was like, is that a mistake? Then I went, no, that because they beat Phoenix City. But then they lost several other games, and it came down to, I think, a tiebreaker between them and Enterprise, and they lost it and didn't make it. So now they got to open up with Thompson. So it's a tough road to hoe, no doubt about it. And we'll see how that kind of plays out, because Thompson ended last season just obliterating Auburn.
Yeah.
You know, that game was over in the first quarter.
It shows you the difference, though, in that jump from 6A to 7A, and just how competitive and how dominant those teams are, and, you know, the competitive advantage that you may have school size wise in 6A, all that gets dismissed in 7A. But they have a good opportunity. You know, now first week Thompson's gonna be a little tough, but I think you see a better record than the 5-5.
Yeah, but again, that region, there's no rest for the weary over there. You've got, you know, Phoenix City, Auburn, you know, even Smith Station has a lot of talent. We've seen what they've been able to put on, you know, is put out there as far as skilled guys and good quarterbacks, and from time to every week, Enterprise is a tough team, tough opponent. So, yeah, you know, kind of somebody told me, said, well, my Opelika's played Phoenix City and Auburn their whole, I'm like, but it's different. But with the way things have grown and communities have grown and expanded, yeah, they're familiar with them. They've played them, and Opelika, most of our lifetime, had the upper hand on Auburn, but that thing's kind of flip-flopped now with the population boom and in the way the schools are now. So, you know, not that Opelika's diminished, it's Auburn's kind of risen up. to the challenge and kind of taking a step forward. So up against another break. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Are you in the mood to hit the road and travel in style? Then head on over to Opelika RV. You'll receive huge savings on travel trailers, lightweight campers, and fifth wheels by KZ, Sanibel, and StarCraft. Not only will you get the best prices around at Opelika RV, they also have a parts and service center to ensure you're always ready to enjoy a no-hassle road trip. Visit Opelika RV today for superior service and prices. Opelika RV, located at 6752 Highway 280 East in Opelika, or give them a call at 334-742-9160.
SCAG, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that SCAG means productivity and reliability. Every SCAG mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. SCAG.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Looking for an attorney you can trust for your real estate closings? Wisdom Law Firm at Lake Martin has you covered. Your real estate transactions are fast, convenient, and professional every step of the way. Wisdom Law is certified and licensed by the American Land and Title Association and approved by all local lenders. Visit Wisdom Law Firm at 6366 Highway 49 in Dadeville or at their Auburn location at 2353 Bent Creek Road. No communication concerning a lawyer's legal services shall be published or broadcast unless it contains the following language, which shall be clearly legible or audible as the case may be. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen-printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Sometimes, without reading, you already knew what the results were, don't you? When you go back and look at stuff. Hey, look at some current streaks here in the state of Alabama and our good friends at the Alabama High School Football Historical Society, which is, man, what a godsend website.
I don't know how you can survive without it, honestly.
I don't know if the AHSAA can survive. I mean, I talk to Ron all the time about it. I mean, these guys, and they do it for nothing. We've had them on our show before, and just appreciate, man, you can't really thank them enough for all of the stuff that goes in and the research to be able to provide a continuous, updated record keeping of high school football here in the state, and they're working on basketball now, so that's going to be awesome too.
That will be, and it's just such a valuable resource. And for a state that's so, high school sports centric, and especially with high school football, it's fun to go back and look and see top tens and who did what in 2004 and whatever it may be. But tremendous website and something that we use, if not weekly, at least multiple times a week.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the top teams going into this season in wins all time. And this is a pretty substantial list, but here are your top 10 teams as it stands. Aniana right now with 719 wins. T.R. Miller is 2 with 718. Fayette County with 713. And then Deshler comes in at number 4 with 694. Colbert County 678 at 5. Rounding out the top 10, Thomasville is at 6 with 677. Demopolis 675. UMS Wright is 8, 673. Enterprise 672, and Benjamin Russell with 665. So Benjamin Russell there in the top 10 all time in wins as a program. Bessemer City is 11 with 660. So Benjamin Russell with a 5-game lead on the next opponent below them. So pretty high standards there to be in the top 10 all time. And with the likes of some of the names that we rolled off, and some of the teams below Benjamin Russell that have had historical programs, and again, phenomenal list of top programs. Let's talk about some of these records. This is always fun. Consecutive game scoring. I like to try to do a little trivia with you to see if you can guess. Consecutive game score. This is unbelievable. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's at least scoring 2 points, I mean, so, but they've done this many times. The number is 306 consecutive games scoring at least 2 points. Who is it?
5?
It's 5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think about who probably has been on top for a while.
And it's them. So, all right, consecutive weeks with a top 10 ranking. 260 weeks with a top 10 ranking. Who would that be? See if you know that one.
Oh, like Leeds or somebody?
No, it's not Leeds. It's Hoover. So,
all right.
I think we kind of diminished it. Since they're not winning a state championship.
Yeah, I did. I disrespected Hoover.
So, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. 260 consecutive weeks they've been in the top 10. So, consecutive playoff seasons. This team has been to the playoffs 40 consecutive seasons. To me, that's a big accolade, because you're putting a product out on the field every year that's good enough to figure out a way to make the playoffs, which is a lot of teams' goal every year, and they've done it 40 years in a row now.
Like T.R. Miller sounds like
you're close. Laverne.
Yep.
Laverne with 40 consecutive playoff seasons. Consecutive winning seasons. This is impressive too. This team has currently got 30 consecutive seasons going with a winning record. You'll never guess it, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Gordo. What I mean,
solid
program.
Yeah.
I'll run through some of these others. Home winning streak at 17 games right now. UMS Wright. No shot there.
Yeah.
Region losing streak. These are some of the territories you don't want to be mentioned in, but we pull for. I mean, again, we will pull for these schools. I remember, I can't remember the team a couple of years ago had like 79 consecutive losses, and they finally got a win that year. We were pulling for them.
Man,
had to be a celebration.
I mean, anyway, that's almost as great as winning, 10 in a row there. If you could just break that
when you
streak.
snap that.
Yeah.
All right, so region losing streak is at 58 region games. They ain't won a game in their region in 58 tries.
Seems like it'd be like a northern team, probably.
No.
I don't know.
Barber County.
Oh, yeah. I should have known that.
And so Barber County trying to snap that region losing streak. Region winning streak, though. 35 consecutive region wins for this program.
Was it you? No.
American Christian. So American Christian with 35.
What classification are they?
Are they 2A? 2A, 1A, or 2A? I know they're small.
2A.
So, all right, here's a regular season winning streak. 24 regular regular season games, so not counting playoffs. So that means they've got 24 regular season wins in a row. Montgomery Catholic. So Montgomery Catholic with 24. Longest losing streak in the state right now is at 71 games.
Could have been. I mean, Bourbon County size like that could have been.
I think they were at one point there, but it's Columbia. 71 games in a row. So pulling for Columbia now. Try to get off that snide, knock that out. And the current winning streak right now in the state is held by the Fife Red Devils, 15. So 15 wins going there for Fife and heading into another season where they're probably going to be favored again.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, B.B. Comer returns a lot off that team they played, you know, they're in the state championship game, Scott. So I'm interested to see if B.B. Comer can have something to say about that.
That'd be a great story if so. And it's always intriguing to me just to see the parallels between Comer and Sylacauga, and while one may be up at one time and one may not, and when you have such close proximity of student population. Right. But anyway, those are some fun. I'm
it's
glad
always
we did
fun
that.
to go through. It's that time of year. I mean, we're about to be in high school football taught pretty hard and heavy, so just kind of previewing that and kind of getting you set up for that. If you got some comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. 256-234-6221. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Looking to sell your car, truck, or SUV? Look no further than King Honda. As a local family-owned business, we're committed to providing you with the best service and value. Nobody pays you more for your vehicle than King Honda.
You've trusted us for generations. You can trust King Honda to give you top dollar for your vehicle, whether you buy from us or not. Trust in our time-tested tradition of excellence at King Honda.
Visit King Honda today and get top dollar for your vehicle. Located on the corner of Opelika Highway and 280.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later. How are you? Tell me everything.
Everything's great. I love it here.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Frontline Outfitters provides all your aftermarket parts for your cars, trucks, and as well as your professional tinting solutions for auto, residential, and commercial buildings. Frontline Outfitters also handles vinyl wraps, spray-in bed liners, truck accessories, LED lighting, paint correction and detailing, and much more. Make sure Frontline Outfitters of Alexander City is your first call for tinting and aftermarket solutions. Call us today, 256-409-8100.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. We usually talk about college in the hour number 2, so we'll dive into that. A lot to talk about with recruiting and things changing up. But I just want to get your thoughts on on ESPN with another round of massive layoffs. And, man, this is nobody's safe at ESPN right now.
No, I mean, these are staples.
Susie Colbert and David Pollock and Jalen
Rose. Jalen Rose. They're about to take him off NBA Countdown. But you've got who's Jeff Van Gundy?
Yeah.
He's gone. I mean, all of them, all the people that basically that have been associated with ESPN for 25 years, really starting to walk or have to remove their positions. But new talent coming in, shifting people around in some areas. Max Kellerman's going to. I mean, there's a lot.
How much of the political climate does this have to do? I mean, listen, you got to look at it. I mean, I saw some things yesterday talked about on Twitter by different people, and ESPN and a lot of them want to say that the cable bundles have reduced, and that's why they're having. But then in the same light, they contradict themselves by saying they have more people watching ESPN now than ever before through streaming and all that. So, you can't have your cake and eat it too, because I know Disney as a parent company is pushing streaming. So they're pushing more people to the streaming side. So even if people cut the cord, they're not watching the games and the programs on ESPN. So, and they're even touting that their viewership is up. Why are you laying people off? Where's the problem coming from?
I do think that there's probably some, conclusion that could be drawn between these layoffs and maybe some of the political stances and things that ESPN is and some of their personalities over the last decade or so have started to go. But I think honestly, it's just there are other ways to consume sports, or like I could just sit on Twitter all day if I wanted to and catch the same clips, catch all of that. And so Sports Center, which has really been which is the flagship program for ESPN, I don't know the last time I like Scott Van Pelt. Like, I'll watch him sometimes at night, but overall, like, I'm not sitting around watching highlights like what it was. Yeah,
you're right there from that standpoint, but from the games and the contracts and things that they have still with NBA and Major League Baseball and NFL and college especially and all, I mean, their viewership's not down. And so the advertisers are still there's in sports is alive. You can't, all this on-demand stuff and, Netflix and Paramount Plus and all that kind of stuff, that's different. Live programming, talk shows like ours can be watched and viewed now, and they can go back and be watched later, but mostly live stuff, reality programs or sporting events, you can't emulate that in the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can watch the replay of a game, but most people aren't watching the replay of a game; they're watching the live part. And so I don't know. It's kind of oddity, to be honest. This was a few years ago, ESPN went through this.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of shocking to see some of the ones that, this was a lot of people up and down the board.
I mean, and where the political part comes in is what you just said with the advertisers is, if you're big brands and you've already seen how certain companies within the country have, through marketing practices have lost tremendous amount of revenue, and so you don't want to be attached to something.
When are companies and organizations going to learn that they don't really have to come out and why do they feel obligated to have to take a stance? I mean, I don't really. At some point in time, I'm there to produce a product, and everybody that wants to watch my product can watch it. I'm not going to side with one group over another, or I'm not going to push an agenda over that. Just I think that was Bud Light's biggest problem there. It's not that it's exploded into a much bigger issue, but if you just do what you've done for 1,800,000 years and just sell beer and try and not try to enter into, oh, I want to go out and try to, approach this particular group of people out here in public. Just if they want to buy beer, let them buy it. But don't offend your majority of your base that has kept your company. It's unnecessary problems that are brought on by stuff like this.
Yeah, and too with ESPN, something that, if you're any organization probably has things in place where your conduct detrimental to the company or whatever. So when you're saying things on Twitter, or when you have people getting in political spats, or your reflection of the company you work for. So if it's an ESPN columnist or an ESPN talk show host that's saying certain things politically, one way or the other, you're gonna alienate yourself with a group of people. So I just think, not saying I'm not going to say just dribble the ball. I'm not saying that. But the arena in which you're in, I think that's where you have to just stay with that. And anything outside of that, don't let it be as a representative of the
that
company.
organization.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you want to do it as a person, outside of that, but don't use that platform to push that, because you group in. Look, Fox News and CNN and MSNBC have all have gotten rid of key people that they've had for years because it just got too much, man. And, and those agencies have gone away from reporting news to reporting opinions. I mean, that's basically what the news is now. It's slanted toward whatever agenda that you're – I mean, it's what it is. I mean, you can take the same three networks can cover the same topic and have all three, you flip back and forth, and you see a different spin from all three, depending on which slant and who might be covering that and who might be talking about it. So, I mean, we've seen Tucker Carlson go by the wayside at Fox News. We've seen Don Lemon go by the wayside at CNN. I mean, you've seen, I can't remember who it was at MSNBC that got laid off. I mean, look, and they're all kind of viewed as extremists. Let's just be honest about it, for their particular side or whatever it is that they're trying to push. And I think there's some less. I'm not saying all the people at ESPN got laid off because they were expressing political opinions. I think political things and the landscape of the world have affected their jobs and may be a result of why they don't have a job anymore. The news agency people lost their job because they pretty much had crossed the lines and been told not to do it anymore, and they kept doing it. And they said, "Look, we can't continue to do that anymore."
The crazy thing in this though is that they bring on Pat McAfee.
But they bring, I know but on the flip side, they bring view. It's the Howard Stern effect. I thought that when Howard Stern was on E all those years. I mean, is anybody watching E? Does E even exist? I don't even know if it's on anymore. Seriously,
I don't think it is.
But I mean, at 10 o'clock, people turned on Howard Stern because, and yeah, he's crude and all the crap that goes with him. But he brought in viewers, and if you've ever seen the movie about him, when he was at NBC in New York, they couldn't fire him because their ratings were so high, even though he was pushing the envelope and getting them in trouble with the FCC and all that. They just couldn't do it from a business standpoint because he's bringing in so many. I mean, you're right. I mean, those guys, the Tuckers, the Dons, the Pats on the ESPN, those are the extreme kind of radical people that people are drawn to. But I guess when it reaches such a fever pitch, but I wouldn't have seen David Pollock get cut.
Yeah, I mean, these are like real.
Susie Colbert's been there 9 years.
I mean, this is tough. I mean, obviously, those are people that you probably chose that are toward the end, not necessarily David Pollock.
Now, Disney is the parent company, and Disney was talking about layoffs. So this thing's trickled. This isn't necessarily just an ESPN thing. They're making cuts across the board to try to get things back in line to be, that's what Bob Iger's, that's what he's tasked with. That's why he came back and took over the CEO position, he's got to run a Fortune 500 company, and it was not going in the right direction. And they got a lot of different entities that group in to make, ABC and ESPN and all the other holdings that Disney has. So it's not just Disney World. It isn't just the parks. It's everything that goes into it. So, but it's interesting to see some of these mainstays that, the most popular sports network in the world no longer have a job. So, and they're not hurting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, most of these, like what Max Kellerman have a $5 million a year contract, and he's been making that for how many years? So, I mean, if he's done any kind of financial investing, he's got more money than he knows what to do with. But again, it is a little bit of a shock to the system. So, up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true, and the names have been changed because Brubaker Motors has sold to Sons Automotive. You heard right. Brubaker CDJR is now Sons Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Montgomery. Furthermore, Sons Automotive is a family business with dealerships throughout the Southeast. The name Sons Automotive is synonymous with trust, and they care about the communities they're a part of. They're excited to serve the River region, and in the interest of justice, you will be served a sentence of big savings. Sons CDJR of Montgomery. Family owned, family driven.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com. You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider. Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted. Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Coastal Construction Design is the area's storm specialist experts and offers free roof inspections absolutely free to assess your needs. Their roofing experts get your home or commercial needs handled from start to finish. They have worked with all major insurance sources for decades, and they are permitted and approved for Lake Martin. Coastal Construction Design also handles exterior restoration, including siding and gutters. They are also a GAF certified contractor. Visit coastalconstruction.pro or call 251-215-3429. Coastal Construction Design. All things roofing from start to end.
There's nothing like a brand new truck. From Sarah Automotive, new Honda Ridgelines from $349 a month, Ford Rangers from $357 a month, and Nissan Frontiers from $379 a month. One of the largest truck selections in Alabama. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. There's nothing like a brand new truck. From Sarah Honda, Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, serving Alabama since 1981.
Back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air here in the last segment of hour number one. Real quick, a little bit shorter segment. JR Sports Bar and Grill will be celebrating their 25th anniversary in October. So we did a special show this past week on Lake Martin Sports Roundup. You'll see this coming up Tuesday on 4th of July. Again, 25 years, a milestone, should be celebrated. We talked about, a lot of times we get caught up and we don't celebrate our milestones, and, it will be really a celebration of Ann and what she did of bringing that restaurant to Alex City, and kind of the history of that restaurant and what it means. And, it's such a staple of this community. And so we had Audrey and Chris on there to talk about it a little bit, and we're doing a special video that brought back a lot of employees over the years and interviewed them, and see some faces that we hadn't seen in a while, and some that are still there. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun video to watch, and a lot of that video surrounds and kind of centers around Ann's memory and everything she was part of, and it'll all culminate on October the 22nd with her which would have been her birthday.
Nice.
So they're going to do something that entire week. So there'll be some information coming out over the next couple of months as we get closer to that. And but that's a big deal, man. 25 years.
25 years, and so they've been a sponsor for
17.
So nice partnership there, and both entities have seen progression, and we've both been together through a lot of things through these transitions. So it's been a lot of fun to have them as a part of the program, and consider them like family as well. So that should be a great video. And I know that I do want to say this, like, if you haven't had a chance to, you prompted me about one of the posts that you had made, then I've been really following it since then. But these daily posts that the AHSAA network is putting out is it's kind of the Clay County picture or this week. It just brings back memories and things that maybe you hadn't thought about in a while. And so just the social media team in general, I think, has been pretty solid here.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of new stuff, and one thing that I'm doing is pushing out the top high school player from every county, and AL.com put a list together in 2018, and we're kind of going off of that and maybe tweaking it some, but we leave it up for debate. We want people to comment and have if they think somebody else in history was a better player or deserves to be mentioned in that same breath, that's what we want to hear. So we encourage. We're not saying we're the authority and the end-all be-all, but so far, most everybody, I think we're into the letter H as far as the counties. I'm going from A to Z basically. I mean, there's not a Z county, but I'm just saying we're starting with A and going all the way down, and basically, posting a picture and a synopsis of that player and having some comment. They're garnering tons of comments. So, but for the most part, everybody's agreed. Now, we've had some that said, hey, there's some others that could be mentioned, but nobody's really disagreed with the player that's chosen. And I'm learning a lot in that, doing some research and going back and looking and seeing some guys that I didn't know much about, that either played at Auburn or Alabama or went off and played somewhere else, or ended up having a big-time pro career, didn't know they were from the state of Alabama. So that's cool. I mean, we encourage you to go follow us out there on our social media, AHSAA Radio Network, if you don't do so already. And, again, we had a post, and we do Players of the Week every week, obviously. And we had a young lady from North Alabama that signed to play softball with Oklahoma State. That post has exploded, man. I mean, comments coming from all over, congratulations and all. And it's a big deal, and that's what we want it to be for those kids. I mean, we don't just randomly go over there and pick somebody. I mean, there's some thought and effort that goes into selecting these kids every week in the regions of the state, and we're glad that people are acknowledging them and congratulating them, and we're able to showcase what they've been able to do.
No, I'm really enjoying it, and especially during this time of the year where it kind of is a build-up to sports getting back started in the fall, but just shows how much talent the state has and some of your local communities as well. That provides that sense of pride where you can have that conversation where the player that's selected may be the most known player, but there's somebody who maybe didn't get to go. He's like, oh no, you don't remember so and so. So it's a lot of fun to get that engagement.
So we're going to cover that, and we're not on a time frame there. We're posting a few players along, so just keep up with it. I mean, we've probably posted 20-something counties so far out of the 67. So we've got a ways to go, and hopefully you'll interact with that and be part of that. And again, we welcome on the post. I say, look, do you agree or disagree? Comment below and let us know. And if there's somebody else you'd like to add in there, let us know. We'd like to hear from people on that. So up against the top of the hour, we have another hour coming your way here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Now at Glenn Smith and Opelika, GMC Sierra Crew Cabs discounted up to $10,500 off. GMC Terrains up to $4,750 off. And Buick Enclaves up to $5,000 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com. Plus, no payments for 120 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC.
Over 250 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glenn Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full-service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Jimmy Gorey at Gorey's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Gorey's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have some fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the madness of March, and that's only at Gorey's Furniture.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine, Heating, and Air. We'll go to the phone lines. Welcoming our good friend Luke Robinson. Luke is in a nice, cool place down on the coast, right, Luke? No heat down there.
No, it's just about 2 degrees short of Hades.
Pretty warm. It's warm here too. But hey, look, when you're going into July, that's what you expect in the deep south. So really not a shock there. But again, glad you joined us today, and we'll dive right in since you cover Alabama side for us. We'll start with football. I was on Gary Harris's show yesterday in Tuscaloosa, and that's where we started. He started with me on recruiting, and I kind of gave a little brief rundown of kind of where Auburn is right now on the recruiting side. So I'll do the same with you, Luke. Anything to report as far as any new news or any anticipation of anybody committing anytime soon? This time frame kind of gets to be a little bit of a lull with everything going on with 7-on-7s and OTAs and camps and all that. But the recruiting process still goes on, but just normally not a lot to report. But I'll let you kind of take it from there and give us an update.
Yeah, I think this July and August are going to be about as busy as they can be for Alabama. Now, I've been told by a couple of folks in the industry, this Alabama could be just about full by mid-August in terms of commits. And they only have, I think, it's either 8 or 9 right now. So that's a big number. I think they'll get a commitment tonight from Jameer Grimsley, who is about a 6'1", 6'2" cornerback from down in the Tampa area. Very long, lanky. Runs about a 4.45 kind of thing. Good player, offers from a lot of big-time spots. 4-star guy, and I'm pretty sure Alabama will get his commitment tonight, about 6 o'clock, I think, on his Instagram. And then there's Casey Poe out of Texas, one of the top offensive linemen in the country. I believe he'll commit to Alabama later this month, as well as Caleb Odom, a tight end who a lot of people are looking at. Like him a lot. I think he's the 4th-rated tight end in the country. Probably a top 150 kid. He and Poe maybe top 100, top 125, something like that. I think both of them commit to Alabama. Later on this month, there'll be Daniel Calhoun. Now, I think Alabama's got a shot, but I think in the end it's going to be Georgia. Georgia got another commitment last night from a Michael Unizi. I think that's how you say it. And he's an offensive lineman. And then there's one other offensive lineman out there. His name escapes me right now, but I think he's also going to Georgia. The weird thing is all 3 of those guys are offensive tackles. So it feels like Georgia's just stacking up offensive tackles right now. And but Alabama and Georgia going head-to-head for a lot of folks. And now those are just the ones that I know about. I think some others are going to pop. It wouldn't shock me if DeMarcus Riddick flips. I think Georgia's running 3rd right now. I think it's going to either be, I think Alabama's in the lead, I think Auburn's there, and then I think there's Georgia, even though weirdly he's committed to Georgia right now. So I think there's a lot that could happen in the month of July for sure.
Yeah, we talked about DeMarcus Riddick a little bit from Chilton County. We've seen him the last few years. Very, very good running linebacker, 5-star. And Luke, I kind of gave Gary an analysis from what I've seen him up close and personal the last 3 years. He's a 5-star, and he's still really raw. So I think his ceiling's high, and he's already ranked as a 5-star. So I think, man, this kid could really explode. And you're right. I think he's been a long-time commit to Georgia, but I think Georgia is going to end up losing that battle to either Auburn or Alabama here in the state. And, again, around the end of July is when he's anticipated for him to maybe make an announcement, maybe shut things down. So I know both Auburn and Alabama really going hard after him to try to garner a commitment there. But again, I think it's going to be busy for Auburn as well on that side in July and August. But Auburn's trying to fight to get back up into that arena. And Auburn's got to be able to win some of those battles head-to-head. They know that. And right now Alabama's more, I guess, concerned, and their priority is going head-to-head with Georgia and winning a majority of those battles. Oh, no, we may have lost Luke. So hopefully we'll get him.
I'm here, Brent. I'm sorry.
Okay, got you. I was just going to say that.
I had you on mute. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hey, I was just saying that, these head-to-head battles right now are important from an image standpoint between Alabama and Georgia because, Georgia has crept up there and they've won 2 in a row, and Alabama's trying to get and inch their way back up into that top spot. So it's important from a battle-by-battle basis.
Yeah, I meant to say I had me on mute, not you on mute. I like to mute it when you're talking because I've got a dog in the car, their air conditioning because it's 10,000 degrees and everything else. But, I think Georgia, Georgia's just going to keep rolling. They're going to still have some good recruiting classes. And they're not going to stop. They're not going anywhere. Of course, Alabama's not going anywhere either, but I think those two just go head-to-head a lot. There's another wide receiver whose name popped into my head, Arian Hampton from Texas, very fast, good, like really solid wide receiver, probably a top 75, top 100 kid in the country. It's coming down to Alabama and Texas. I think he commits on July 15th, I saw. It wouldn't. I would say it's probably 50-50 between he and Texas, between Alabama and Texas right now. So there's, again, I just think July, whereas it's usually sleepy, and here's the deal. You want to knock out as much of this now as you can. I think if you're a player, you're not so much worried anymore about, everybody talks about the environment that these kids get to go to when they see a big game. If you see the Iron Bowl, you see Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, and you talk about how you want to get the kids on campus and let them have a big time, and all that's true. That will never stop. But I think the kids also like to make a lot of these moves during the summer now because, man, it's kind of a bear to travel right now. And so when you think about kids that have to play a high school game on Friday night, probably get their parents, their cousins, their friends all lined up to go to wherever it is, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Athens, Baton Rouge, wherever, get on a plane, get there. I'm telling you, I fly a lot. It ain't fun right now. I was on the tarmac for 8 hours the other day in New York. It's just not fun. And so if you don't have a big window, because these kids have school of their own on Monday, then maybe it's better to take a lot of these visits in the summer and knock out your commitment a little bit earlier, or take your official visits earlier, so that, it's not as big a deal if you don't make that official visit in the fall. Now, yeah, you don't get to see the game day environment and all that, and that can be a bummer, but it's better to get a full, true view of the school, I think, than, seeing the game day is great, right? We all love being there. But at the same time, it's kind of like going on a first date with somebody to a wedding. Like, they're going to be dressed to the nines. They're going to be on their best behavior. You really don't know what they're about. It's better maybe if you go on a first date with them just to go grab a beer and have a little casual dinner on a Friday after work. Because that way you may get a better glimpse into what they are. So, again, everybody's going to always love official visits for a game day environment, for sure. But at the same time, I'm noticing this trend of kids trying to commit so early now and be on top of it, and they have all the power. So here's another way to look at it. The kids have all the power. So if you commit early, like DeMarcus Riddick, he's still listed as a Georgia commitment. Like, when you factor in Georgia's ranking, DeMarcus Riddick is a part of it.
Right.
But nobody, not me, you, or Scott, or Randy, or anybody, thinks DeMarcus Riddick is going to be a Georgia Bulldog anymore. So what it means is he's got the scholarship to Georgia over here to the side, and he's really checking out everything else,
Yeah, and that goes on, and we talk about that all the time, and but a lot of people don't think about it in the present and in the now, that he's part of that ranking. Nobody really thinks he's going to go to Georgia, so that's going to affect where they are. At the end of the day, when he decides to flip and go somewhere else. Luke, before I let you go, I do want to ask you about the NIL issue with the NCAA issuing a memo, basically saying, "Hey, y'all ignore your state laws. I want you to follow the NCAA." This, once again, to me, is a perfect picture of who they are. They had a chance to get ahead of this, and they chose not to. Now on the backside, because it's so out of control, they want to jump in here and tell schools to ignore their state legislators and do things the way they want it done. It's always a muddled up mess with them. And again, the only solution to me is to have some type of regulatory body from the federal government to come in now and start doing this. The NCAA has no power. They can't dictate what goes on, but they want to send a memo to all the member institutions saying, hey, you don't need to be paying attention to your state laws. You need to follow our laws. It blows my mind.
Well, frankly, I see where you're coming from, but I don't want the NCAA or the government involved.
I don't think there's any choice.
Mess it up. what I want is the NCAA. So it's like when you first go to prison and you hear the whole adage that what you should do is walk up to the biggest, baddest person and start a fight with them. Well, the NCAA walked up to Texas and Texas A&M and tried to start a fight with them, and they don't want any of that. I'm just telling you, Texas and Texas A&M don't care about what the NCAA is going to say in relation to the laws that they helped get passed, by the way. I mean, you think that Texas just did these because they thought, hey, this is a pretty good idea. No, Texas and Texas A&M helped with that. So, anyway, yeah, I'm with you 100%. This is so dumb.
I want to say this, and I'm with you, and nobody's advocating for the federal government. None of us want more government, but it's the only body that can control this now, because you have these state laws, and it's apples to oranges because every state's not the same. So you got to have this. The only body that could potentially have an effect on all below. So you can't form a committee outside of that and just say we're going to regulate how things are done. So that's the only reason I said it's the only path I see at this point. And I may be on mute again, so or Luke may be on mute. So, or we may have lost him this time. So, but anyway, if we did, Luke.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to run through the Starbucks line and talk about how much I hate the NCAA. That's a chore.
Well, don't tell Starbucks you hate them and how much you like NCAA. Don't get it confused.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to need an NIL deal if I'm going to keep coming to Starbucks. This $8 coffee's about to send me into the poorhouse.
Yeah, they like their coffee a lot there and all. Hey, but Luke, I know we're getting up against the break, but I just wanted to get your final comments on that.
Yeah, look, I don't know why the NCAA likes to pick fights they know they can't win. I don't understand what that's all about. And why doesn't the NCAA ask some of the figureheads of the power? Because, again, I know Rick Neuheisel, and I admire his passion for the game, and I admire the fact that he wants it to be a lot more equitable across the board. But I'm going to go on a rant for a second. But, and I'm going to tie this all together. Rick Neuheisel on the Sirius College XM station loves to talk about how he loves the little stories. He loves the TCUs, by the way, which isn't a really little story. That's a Power 5 team now. But he loves the little guy, and he wants it more fair for everybody across the board, and everybody should share the money and blah, blah, blah. It's never going to be equitable. It's not fair it's not that it's not fair. It's not equitable when you have Florida, Georgia, Texas, and California, the 4 states that probably produce more high school talent than all the other states combined. And if you're Florida or Florida State or USC or Texas A&M or Georgia, you have an inherent advantage forever. That's never going to stop. You can't. There's no way Wyoming can catch up to Georgia. That can't happen. It's very difficult for Mississippi and Mississippi State to produce enough per capita to make it look pretty good to even compete with those schools. So you can forget all that. It's also not fair, if you want to look at it another way, for Texas and Alabama and Ohio State and LSU and USC and Florida to be the water bearers for football, the teams that everybody wants to see. Those are the teams that people want to see on TV, and then split their lion's share of the money with teams that people really don't want to see. I know everybody loves to talk about how, I could sit back and watch Jacksonville State take on Troy. And I love those 2 schools. I'm pulling for them. They're Alabama schools. I dig it. I want them to do well. But it's not the same as watching the Iron Bowl. It never will be. I know it is passion-wise for some people. Dollars-wise, it's light years away from it. So we've got to all recognize, and the NCAA needs to recognize, that we are now at a point where the haves and the have-nots are so separated that you can't bring them together. So maybe we need to separate a little further. Maybe we need to only have about 60 to 65 teams, 68 teams that operate as a mini NFL. I'm not saying I like that. I'm just saying that's where it's going, just like I didn't like the 12-team expansion playoff, so I had to like it because that's where it was going. I had no opportunity. I mean, I can't just be mad about it and quit watching football. I'm not going to do that. The NCAA can't just keep stomping its feet and think that they need to treat Murray State the same way they treat Kentucky. It's just not the way to do this thing.
Yeah, you're right. I totally agree with what you said on that, and I think that's their biggest problem. They pick fights that they know they're not going to win. It just kind of – they're like a gnat that swarms around your head that continues to aggravate you. They don't provide solutions. They provide problems. And, Glenn comes in and says on this comment, so what are we asking Congress for, a scale of payments? I see colleges back in trouble if it's the law. I see what they're asking for being more of a set of regulations on what teams can do within NIL. So, I mean – because if one state does it this way and another state does it this way, I mean, Nick Saban even said that at the beginning of all this. He said if we don't get our state government on board and we can't do the things that we need to do, and Georgia and Florida are doing it, he said, I don't care how many championships you've won. I don't care what you've done. The best players aren't going to come here anymore. So that's the biggest concern of this whole thing, and that's why I said there's only one power it be that can control that, although we don't like it. But you may not have a choice.
Well, what I'm hoping is, Brett, that maybe if we don't have to govern 130 schools for football. First of all, maybe we can split football apart from everything. Number one. Number two, because it is the thing that drives the train. I mean, we all love basketball now because Alabama and Auburn are good again, but basketball is a drop in the bucket compared to football. So maybe we split football apart, and maybe we say, okay, however many teams we're going to have in this thing, whether it be 48, 68, whatever it is, maybe they have their own rules and regulations like a mini NCAA, and maybe we can somehow grant to be a member of this institution, to be a member of these 68, this group of schools. Maybe you have to allow for – I hate to say subpoena power. I don't think that would work. But you'd have to allow for just certain things that don't have to be necessarily completely factually proven. That you can be like, hey, look, we're 95% sure y'all are doing this illegally, and we're going to vote on it. And if the vote comes this, you're going to be fined. We're not going to. That's another thing that makes me mad. Vacating wins from LSU in 2013. Who cares? That does nothing. The games happened. We know what happened. Fine them money. Fine them. That's the only language these universities understand is money. They don't understand if you if you vacate a win, because, frankly, they already made the money from that win. What do they care if a check mark goes in the W column?
Yeah, it's really insignificant at that point. And, look, and to brag on us a little bit, we've been talking about shifting the top 60 teams in college football to a group for about 5 years now on our program. I'm not saying they don't discuss it on other programs, but I'm telling you, we said that, and I think inevitably that's what we're going to be all looking at here in the next few years. I think that's the train track it's going down, and, again, I think we all kind of see it in our group. And I think it's really the only answer to the whole thing. So, but Luke, appreciate your time, man. And look, I'm gonna get off before you put me on mute again, okay?
I know we all probably wish everybody out there probably wish they had a mute button for me, but that's okay.
Hey, man, have a good weekend, okay, buddy?
All right, guys.
All right, thanks.
See ya.
Again, a lot to discuss on that, and the NCAA. We knew they'd rear their head eventually, and again, it's more not solutions but more problems from them trying to say, hey, oh, by the way, you need to follow our – I mean, come on, man. I mean, just it makes zero sense at all when you look at it from that standpoint. So we're a long way from getting solutions.
I think it was really, too, kind of grandstanding. Like, you knew you couldn't – there's nothing that's going to come out of it, but you can say
that's what they always are, is a bunch of smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke. So up against the break, stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Now at Glenn Smith and Opelika, GMC Sierra Crew Cabs discounted up to $10,500 off. GMC Terrains up to $4,750 off. And Buick Enclaves up to $5,000 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com. Plus, no payments for 120 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC.
Over 250 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glenn Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Jimmy Gorey at Gorey's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Gorey's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the madness of March, and that's only at Gorey's Furniture.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple more segments left in today's show. Again, want to remind everybody to be safe out there this extended weekend as we head into the 4th. Most people have Monday off.
Yeah.
So they have Monday off and then the 4th on Tuesday. So it's pretty much a long week when it falls that way. So, but going to be pretty decent weather, it looks like. Going to be very hot. But if you're out and about, obviously up and down the road, a lot of traffic, but on the lakes, not just Lake Martin, but all the surrounding lakes, going to be a lot of traffic out there. So you got to be very mindful of your surroundings and keep your head on a swivel out there. It was good to have Luke on to talk about, what's going on with Alabama and kind of talking about Auburn on the recruiting side of things. Auburn sets its single season record for season ticket sales. There's only 300, I think, season tickets available in the whole stadium left. So maybe less than that by now. So he frees some momentum. Gary asked me about that on his show yesterday, and I said, look, the last 2 years, the momentum of the program has been going down, and there's not been a lot of excitement. Auburn fans are as loyal and resilient as anybody, but there just was zero momentum around the program from recruiting to performance on the field. You bring in Hugh Freeze, you bring some excitement, the effort he's had with the coaching staff, the recruits he's got, and the effort he's put in the transfer portal. It's going to be a new team on the field. So there's excitement from that. New coaching staff, a good home schedule kind of translates into this. So I don't think there's unrealistic expectations, anybody expecting 10 or 11 wins, but I think just the pure fact that they know that this Auburn program is going to go out there and they're going to fight and they're going to compete, and that's what the expectation is. And you're getting some positive momentum going on the recruiting side as well. So there's a lot to be hopeful for.
Yeah, and I mean, what we've seen over the last couple of years from not only wins but just off the field issues and how things have really were just not progressing in any positive direction. Now, within a 6-month period, all of that seems to have been forgotten, and people have that momentum and that excitement level that entering a season that you would want to have,
Right.
not looking into it as like, gosh.
I mean, you literally almost have to do what Brian Harsin did, and that's nothing. At an Alabama, a Georgia, obviously the state schools are going to garner. But Alabama's had its times before Nick Saban where they struggled, because of leadership. Well, I know Auburn has a little bit more of a mountain to climb because of who they have to compete against. But Auburn's a perennial top 15 program in the country. Players want to come play for your program. You almost have to not do anything to not garner top-ranked talent. You may not be recruiting in the top 5, but Auburn has shown when they are on top of their game, they can be up there toward that top 5. But to be in the 40s is totally unacceptable at a program like Auburn, and what the amount of money they've invested and what they do as far as the focus on their program. And the same goes for Alabama when they had down years. It should never be, and Alabama and Georgia and Florida and Auburn and these teams have set standards that they should never drop below unless something bad's going on, unless somebody's not doing their job. And Brian Harsin completely and totally was not doing his job. I know there were some run-ins with powers that be, but at the end of the day, he just refused to go out and do what it took to put Auburn in a position to be successful in a recruit. And we said this too, and I said it on Gary's show yesterday. I said Auburn fans would have been more patient if they could have looked over and said, well, man, he's got a top 10 class. And, look at these players he's got coming in. And, he's having to build what Gus Malzahn left from behind. But he not only wasn't getting the results on the field, you look over and you're in the 50s in recruiting. So you're like, man, it ain't getting no better. When all your competition's up there in the top 5, top 10 in recruiting. So at that point, you're like, guy's not a fit for whatever reason. And then all the crap, whether true or not true, a combination, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, Scott, of all the stuff that went on off the field. Unfortunately, another bonehead decision to give a guy such a high buyout on his contract when really he was untested in this area of the country. You have to suffer the consequences and just pay it to get rid of him. I mean, that's the only choice you had. Because I'm telling you, if they would have bit the bullet, well, we just can't do it because $20 million. Well, if they'd have kept Brian Harsin one more year this season coming up and what we've got, where I'm going. I'm just saying. I told Gary, I said instead of setting a record for most season tickets sold, they'd have set a record on the other side for the least amount that's ever was sold. That's where the temperament of the program was.
Well, let me ask you this. So let's say 3 sounds maybe a little too much for them, but we'll say 4 years. Are we playing for odds of, on a scale of 1 to 10, we're playing for an SEC championship in 4 years?
Is Auburn playing for an SEC championship in 4 years? They can. I definitely think anybody out there listening and watching knows that Auburn can get. They've already proven it. Nick Saban, Auburn's proven they can get to the SEC championship game and win it in the middle of one of the best runs we've ever seen and their arch rival, in the same division. So why wouldn't they? If you're going out and putting max effort in and you're going out and getting very good players that can compete at the highest level, and the schedule works out for you and you get a few breaks. Everybody has to have breaks. Alabama's had to have breaks in their run. Georgia has had to have a few breaks over the last couple of years. You got to be really good and you got to have some help too. That's just the way it is. And then now with the way the thing's laid out, yeah, LSU's going to be pretty good. Alabama's going to be. We already know that, right? Who else outside of them would you put up there at the top? A&M. Auburn's beating A&M as much or more than they've beaten us. I mean, so, yeah, you're pushing yourself up there. We should have beaten LSU the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We did 2 years ago, and then last year gave it away. We were up big, and I mean, so yeah, Auburn can definitely be in the SEC championship game again in 4 years.
I think, and for them, that sounds like that could be. But I'm giving this a pass this year. This doesn't really go toward that. So really, in a 3-year period, looking at it, and I do think that there's a good possibility. And my only concern though with the expansion of the playoffs is, do we diminish? Do you care about winning the conference championship as much because maybe you're a better team and so you have but you don't make the championship, so you're a higher seed, and all those types of things start going into it. So I don't want to lose the excitement that you have when playing for a conference championship, but I can see where Auburn's definitely going to be, a top 12. I can't, a 3-4 year period, they should be competing in the playoffs. I would
hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that it's designed to help more SEC teams. I mean, you're going to get more SEC teams expanding the playoffs didn't necessarily help other conferences. Mm-hmm. It only helped the SEC because majority of your better teams are coming from here, right? Mm-hmm. And now you add Oklahoma and Texas in there, here coming up in 24. I mean, who else are you adding in? I mean, Ohio State, maybe Michigan from the Big Ten, and maybe an Oregon or USC from out west, and the rest, where are you pulling from? I mean, maybe a Clemson or Florida State, but the rest would come from the SEC. Glenn said, as a Texas fan, I understand the ups and downs of your teams. This could be a scary year for Auburn, good or bad. We've gone down the schedule already on Auburn Blitz, and we talked about the schedule on Gary's show yesterday. I mean, Gary said he could see Auburn winning 8 games next year. And he said the six win, he said if the over-under, he said I'm taking the over all day. I said, but, on the flip side, you break the schedule down, you look at the first 3 games, you should be 3-0, but you got to take a long trip to Cal. And Cal's not very good, but it's the first road trip for this whole group. Coaches, players, everybody. And it's a kickoff at 9:30. You just don't know how things are going to work out sometime. But you got UMass and Sanford in there mixed in. So the next 3 is Texas A&M, Georgia, and LSU. Now, Texas A&M on the road, where Auburn's been really good at College Station, but you come home to Georgia. We know what Georgia is, and we know what Auburn has been, but it is Georgia's first road game with a new quarterback. So, you just play it out and see how it goes, but more than likely you're not going to win that game. And unless something really crazy happens. And then LSU on the road, where Auburn has, outside of 2 years ago, hadn't had any success at all. So if you're able to get 1 out of that group, you're 4-2, going into the last half of the season, where it's every game is winnable, maybe save the Iron Bowl, but it's at Auburn.
It's at home.
So, I mean, you're not scared of Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Arkansas and Vanderbilt. I mean, those are games that –
That's 8.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, then you got New Mexico State sandwiched in there. I'm hesitant to get all giddy because I think, Auburn may lose a game where they're not supposed to. It's just part of it. But they also may win a game they're not supposed to win. That kind of cancels each other out. So you're kind of still at that 8-win. So it's like Gary says, I just don't see, based on the schedule, where – but Auburn could lose to an Ole Miss. They could go to Fayetteville and lose to Arkansas, and they could drop that game at Cal, and they could lose all 3, A&M, Georgia, and LSU, and then you're staring at Alabama, and then now you're more at 6-6. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you just don't know. And then you also – you want to win them all. But you also are hesitant. You don't want to come in here and somehow win 10 games and all of a sudden everybody goes, well, man, this is what we should have been doing the whole time and be ahead of schedule. You see what I'm saying?
13.
Now, you wouldn't trade the year for anything.
Yeah. But I think that really –
You see what I'm saying?
That's a good point there.
So a lot of things to include in that. deal. So up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Talladega Outdoors in Talladega is your authorized Kawasaki sale and service center. Your home for Bad Boy mowers and Kimco scooters, four-wheelers, and side-by-sides. Rather for hunting, land management, or recreation, they have the ride for you. But they are also everything outdoor with full lines of accessories and is now your Ariat workwear and boot store, along with kayaks and outdoor accessories. Talladega Outdoor, Highway 21 in Talladega. Everything outdoor and Alabama's #1 Kawasaki dealer.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal. The encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Now at Glenn Smith and Opelika, GMC Sierra Crew Cabs discounted up to $10,500 off. GMC Terrains up to $4,750 off. And Buick Enclaves up to $5,000 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com. Plus, no payments for 120 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC.
Over 250 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glenn Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple segments left in the show today. You got time to call us if you'd like, if you're out and about. Again, we want to encourage you to be careful out there, be mindful of everybody. It's a very, very fun holiday weekend, but again, you got to kind of have your head on the swivel if you're out on the lake, and make sure you stay up with the weather. I know it's supposed to be pretty good, but storms can pop up on you in a hurry on the lake, so kind of watch for that. You know, kind of moving into the last part of the show, we talked about Alabama and Auburn. Who else in the SEC, in your opinion, Scott, this year should you watch? I mean, we talked about it a little bit from Auburn's schedule. We all know that Alabama, you know, still on top in the West until somebody can prove that they're not. So, you know, Alabama's anticipating winning 11 games and trying to get back to the SEC championship game. But LSU won the West last year. What about Brian Kelly and LSU?
I think that there's a legitimate chance that they're playing in the playoffs. They're one of the 4 teams in the playoffs.
LSU.
Yeah, I think that they're that good. They're going to be great defensive, obviously, but the offensive prowess now that I think that we saw during the Burrow times, I think that you're going to see a little bit more of that. But really, outside of maybe say, I don't know who else they have in the East that they would play, but I guess maybe Georgia. I don't know if Georgia's on the schedule or not. But outside of Alabama and Auburn, just because of what it is, I don't know anybody else in the division that could beat them. And so I don't think there's anybody in the East as good as them other than Georgia. So I think they're a team. And I'd be interested. You mentioned Florida earlier. I don't know what's happened really with them, but I'm not saying that they're a team that could compete for the division championship. But there's somebody I think that you could see could win 8, 9, 10 games maybe.
What about Tennessee? I mean, coming off
Was it
last
a fluke?
year. I don't know that it was a fluke. I think Josh Heupel is building a program. I think they got some momentum. I think, Joe Milton's going to be good at quarterback. He's got a strong arm. Now they got pressure to kind of repeat and kind of build off of what they did. They beat Alabama for the first time since this 16-year-old kids had never seen Alabama get beat by Tennessee. But, for the most part, they did a lot of things to kind of garner momentum, but still did not win their division, in a close game with Georgia. But they were in Athens last year. They'll have Georgia and Knoxville. They'll have to go to Alabama, though. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see.
Like you said, the Mississippi schools probably not. Arkansas probably not. Vandy no. Kentucky no.
Glenn thinks South Carolina's going to be.
That's Beamer. There's
he definitely has their stock right.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler, not terrible.
Yeah. I think that it's probably Georgia, Tennessee, and then South Carolina and Florida kind of competing for that. Yeah. So you don't know what happens really.
Kentucky may be mixed in there.
Yeah.
East is more probably competitive top to bottom.
I agree with that.
Then the West even, and you look at the West, you got Alabama, LSU. I would put Auburn even ahead of Texas A&M now. They've underachieved. Auburn beat A&M last year. But then you got Ole Miss. I don't buy into Ole Miss because Ole Miss is Ole Miss at the end of the day. They beat us. We should have come back and beat them. As bad as we were and the team that we rolled over there, it just never scared Ole Miss. Mississippi State's not going to be very good, and Arkansas didn't scare me.
So if you finish, if we're saying we're probably third in the West, that's good from somewhere. Yeah, I was going to say 7 to 9 wins, somewhere in there if you're number 3 in the West. Yeah,
it's 8 and 4. It's pretty solid.
Which is
what Auburn should be every year, almost a given.
Yeah,
and then
I think that's where I've been trying to get it.
Well, that's what but I said that years ago on this show, and you heard me say it, that Auburn should always be an 8-win team with their schedule, the way it lays out. And they're just going to have some outliers. You're going to get somebody will sneak up and bite you every once in a while, but you should always cancel something out. It's not the Alabamas and now the Georgias that determine whether Auburn wins 9 or 10 games. It's losing to the Arkansas and the Mississippi States and those type teams when you're not supposed to that prevents Auburn from winning 9 or 10 games, right?
I agree. That's it. That sums up, at least in my lifetime or the last 25 years, that's been it.
That's it. In a nutshell.
Statistically speaking, 8 games off the top you should look at.
You're should be favored in 8 of them.
Yeah.
All right, and then the rest probably underdogs or maybe a pick 'em depending on what year it is and the talent base, but you should never be like this year. And I know it's a lot of unknowns, but Auburn is an FPI index has less than a 50% chance of winning 7 games, including the Cal game, which, again, I think a lot of things have to be put into context. It's going to be first road game, all that kind of stuff. But on a normal year, if the program's rocking and rolling, 8 wins. It's an 8, probably favored in 7 to 8 games. And then the rest, you're like, okay, I see. Depending on who you're playing, probably Alabama, LSU, Georgia, where they are in their program and where the game is played. Brian said been that way forever, unfortunately. Again, I think realistically, when you look at it, that's who we are. So you gotta figure out a way to get back to that staple, and then those 3 or 4 games that you have to win to push yourself over the top, which Auburn does from time to time.
I agree.
That's who it is. So, but 6-6 is unacceptable.
No,
I mean seriously.
Now I'm going to say this.
I'm not talking about this year.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about
okay.
longevity of Auburn's program. When you're rock and roll and you go 6-6, you ought to be like, man, something bad happened.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm not talking about this year. Can Auburn go 6-6? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what Vegas predicts anyway. So
6-6 though, I think that
Glenn said, give us the surprise SEC team this year. He says Auburn with a question mark. Could be Auburn.
I mean,
could be.
It's one of those
it's
times,
setting up.
Yeah,
could be.
Man, it just
look, nobody
feels
would have
like
given Auburn a chance to do squat after 2012, including me. But Gus Malzahn coming in 2013 after the worst year I've ever seen in 12, nobody would have said Auburn would have been in a national championship game. Nobody. I don't think anybody would have put money on that.
No, but I agree.
I'm just saying that's what Auburn has a tendency to do, just pop up. Yeah, they could be the surprise.
Do you enjoy that better?
Not really. No, not really at all. Not really at all, period. At all. So let's go to break. Final segment coming up right after this.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Looking to sell your car, truck, or SUV? Look no further than King Honda. As a local family-owned business, we're committed to providing you with the best service and value. Nobody pays you more for your vehicle than King Honda.
You've trusted us for generations. You can trust King Honda to give you top dollar for your vehicle, whether you buy from us or not. Trust in our time-tested tradition of excellence at King Honda.
Visit King Honda today and get top dollar for your vehicle. Located on the corner of Opelika Highway and 280.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
OGS Tournaments. Russell Marine and State Farm agent Aaron Warren present Crank for Bank 2023, April 1st through July 4th. Win over $1.5 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 50 tag crappie are waiting on you. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or shores of Lake Martin. Get registered now online at crankforbank.com for only $110 for 13 weeks of fishing. It's Crank for Bank 2023.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Got to wrap it up real quick here. We're up against the end of the show, Scott. Again, want to remind everybody to be safe out there. Have a great and happy 4th of July week. And coming up, we know a lot of you are off and on vacation and on the road. And stay hydrated out there. It's hot, so –
yeah,
make sure I know there's beverages consumed, but you got to have some water out there too. So just make sure your head's on the swivel out there on the lake. Somebody's out there all the time. You just kind of be mindful for everybody else, but mindful for yourself for sure. So, but that's going to wrap it up here for the Saturday Sports Countdown. Again, we'll be back with you next week. Again, we'll be off Monday and Tuesday next week. We'll be back at it on Wednesday for the rest of the week. So, again, have a happy 4th of July. Stay safe out there. For Scott Hardy, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. Well, yeah, see you next time.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Talladega Outdoors in Talladega is your authorized Kawasaki sale and service center. Your home for Bad Boy Mowers and Kimco scooters, four-wheelers, and side-by-sides. Rather for hunting, land management, or recreation, they have the ride for you. But they are also everything outdoor with full lines of accessories and is now your area workwear and boot store, along with kayaks and outdoor accessories. Talladega Outdoor, Highway 21 in Talladega. Everything outdoor and Alabama's #1 Kawasaki dealer.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash for granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
There's nothing like a brand new truck. From Sarah Automotive, new Honda Ridgelines from $349 a month, Ford Rangers from $357 a month, and Nissan Frontiers from $379 a month. One of the largest truck selections in Alabama. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. There's nothing like a brand new truck. From Sarah Honda, Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, serving Alabama since 1981.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Coastal Construction Design is the area's storm specialist experts and offers free roof inspections absolutely free to assess your needs. Their roofing experts get your home or commercial needs handled from start to finish. They have worked with all major insurance sources for decades, and they are permitted and approved for Lake Martin. Coastal Construction Design also handles exterior restoration, including siding and gutters. They are also a GAF certified contractor. Visit coastalconstruction.pro or call 251-215-3429. Coastal Construction Design. All things roofing from start to end.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat and 2 sides or a meat and 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.